One of the issues that many people would face when they're looking at buying a pet is, what do they cost? Often there's hidden costs everywhere when you buy a pet, and often you've got absolutely no idea of what you're letting yourself in for. So what we're going to do now is look at a range of different pets, everything from an insect or a fish right through to cats and dogs, and just see what the basic costs are, what you're letting yourself in for in terms of dollars. Well, probably the cheapest pet you could ever have would be a Siamese fighting fish in a bowl. That fish and the whole setup and everything for a year is around $62. If you go for some insects, that's probably about your second cheapest one, something like stick insects or whatever. Again, cost of purchase plus keeping them for the first year, $127. A pair of goldfish, well, around about $165 will get you through the setup in the first year. Mice, about $356. 2 zebra finches, $388. 1 budgie, $437. Tropical fish, and we've looked at just typical things like half a dozen neon tetras or a couple of pair of something else, about $560. It jumps up a bit more once you go to the more emotionally charged pets, the ones that give you a much better personal result. Around about $850 for the purchase of a cat and covering your costs for the first year. A dog, another jump. $1,450 will get you a reasonably well-bred dog, plus all your other expenses for the year. Now be warned, those are base prices, and you can pay a lot more money than we've factored in there for a purebred cat or a purebred dog. We've taken an arbitrary base price. Equally, some varieties of dogs in particular are very expensive to run because they're breeding them for the show ring, and they don't worry too much about health and vigour, and you've got all sorts of problems. So sometimes buying that little homeless kitten, or perhaps even getting given it, or buying a mongrel dog might be a much better choice. Vastly cheaper to buy, sometimes free, and vastly cheaper to run because they don't get sick as often. Now, if you want to know how we calculated all that sort of stuff, it is in the fact sheet, and we've had to make many arbitrary decisions. But those costings are reasonably accurate in the average experience of most people. So it's a huge jump from around about the $62 mark for one beautiful little Siamese fighting fish in a bowl, through to over $1,400 for a nice cute puppy. But do remember, the puppy will get into your heart, it'll be fantastic. But then, you can't really go on holidays that much unless you put it in a kennel and pay a lot more money. So pets are very restricting. Look at your prices, look at the emotional benefits, and look at the drain it might represent on your family in terms of lack of freedom to take holidays. And I suppose what you've got to do now is sit back and think, well, what's the cost benefit in all of these?